Relationship and emotional connection. Leadership, yeah, I know, right? Excellent, right? It's not about how can I manipulate you and move you around. That's not it at all. If you do that, you're going to lose your leadership. I mean, you can be a great manager in the sense of actually being efficient for a little while, but remember, leadership is about relationship. It's about dealing with people. Okay? This is not scheming and trying to manipulate people. It's a short-term strategy. So, relationship. Instead of a leader imposing his will upon a follower, leadership is better defined as a process or relationship. In fact, the root word ship, the root suffix ship means what? What are the words? What are the words you see? S-H-I-P. Relationship, friendship, right? It means you're in that relation with that other person. So if you're a leader, too often we talk about leadership like you're isolated. Well, let me talk about the leader. The leader only makes sense in light of the followers, right? I mean, there's a relationship, there's correlation there, and unless you get that whole picture, you're not seeing it. Okay, it's better defined as a process or relationship. Relationship is a core ingredient of leadership. Okay, so if you forget that element, you're going to miss the boat when you're talking about leadership. You're going to just talk about what Jack Welch has done without thinking about what the effect has been on others in the organization. Did it empower them? Did it make it easier? Did it demoralize? What did it do? Emotional connection. Know who these guys are? Give you a hint. One's Plato. This is the School of Athens. It's a very famous painting. And Plato's pointing up and Socrates is pointing down because they're debating their philosophies. But they had this emotional connection. This was student and teacher talking, right? Relationship and emotional connection are tied together. Leadership is an emotional activity. Where management is rational, leadership is emotional. You manage things, you lead people. Right? There's a difference between those two activities. And mentors, for example, make very emotional connections with their protégés. And that's what helps them grow and become what they're going to be. Who's this guy? Anybody know? His name is Herb Kelleher. Does that ring a bell? Herb Kelleher was the CEO of Southwest Airlines. Know anything about Southwest Airlines? Okay. Good company, bad company? Good.
They charge baggage fee.
Okay, well, they have been an awesome company. They have been profitable essentially every year since they started. I think possibly missing one. Okay, just incredible company, and part of it is the way that he leads. And again, you're seeing that different leaders lead differently. Bill Gates runs his company very differently than Herb Kelleher does. Right? He's very emotionally connected to the point that his employees in USA Today put out an ad that said this. Thanks, Herb, for remembering every one of our names. That's something for a CEO, right? His employees bought this ad for helping load the baggage on Thanksgiving, for listening, for singing at our holiday party, for singing only once a year, for being a friend, not just a boss. Happy Bosses Day from each one of your 16,000 employees. Now, when you're doing things, remember we were talking about unions last week and the experience at Nucor where the union organizers came out and they had to send out management to protect the union organizers from employees that are throwing rocks at them. Okay? When you're doing something so well that you have to protect union organizers from your employees who are trying to hurt them, you know, don't screw up what we have. You're doing something good. When your employees love you so much that they're spending their own money to buy you this ad, you're doing something really well. There was a powerful emotional connection here. Change. Purpose of leadership is change. Again, vision, moving from A to B, from one place to another. Purpose of leadership is change. Management is about coping with complexity. Leadership is about coping with change. And probably the premier scholar in this is John Cotter. And then leading by example. Okay? How many want to follow a general who says, hey, go take that hill, I'll be back here in the rear? Right? We all love leaders like that. You've all had leaders like that at some point, I'm sure. Right? No, you want the guy that's going to be on the lead tank going into the battle. Leading the charge, that's the point, not following from the rear echelon. Leadership is the process of persuasion. It's about modeling the way. Those that set the performance bar high for themselves earn credibility. Right? It's the in the trenches effect. Okay? If I've done the same thing, I can ask you to do the same thing because I've set you that example. Okay? Servant leadership is modeling that behavior as Christ did. Right? Washing the feet of the disciples. I mean, that's modeling the behavior that he wanted his disciples to follow. One of the best books on the subject is It's Your Ship. Is anybody reading that one? No? Nobody selected that book, huh? Okay. Captain Abrashoff took over one of the worst ships in the Navy. And then he transformed it into the best ship based on the rewards and qualifications and gunnery targets and that kind of thing. He said a leader will never accomplish what he or she wants by ordering it done. Real leadership must be done by example, not precept. So when Abrashoff got to the ship and he happened to observe that his officers would cut to the front of the chow line, which was standard, normal practice, right? What did he do? What do you think? He went and quietly stood in the back and waited and got in the line. Within 3 days, what did his officers realize and figure out? How to stand in the back of the line and get their food like everyone else. What kind of tone do you think that set? Is that a little different? Mm-hmm. Is that, no, I'm not taking my privilege and just grabbing it over you? Right? I'll tell you a different story. I taught at a little classical Christian school for a number of years. And because it was a private school, it was the boundaries were a little different. So we had a retreat in the beginning of the year where what we would do is we'd go off to this retreat center off in the mountains. And now, these are high school kids. So one of the things that is common was some shady ring fights and some hazing and that kind of thing. Well, we had kind of a standard practice where the first meal, the freshmen were to serve the seniors because it's their senior year. So, and what do you think happened with that? I'm already seeing the looks on your face. What do you think happened? You can talk. This is that interactive part.
It kind of set the tone for the rest of the year that the seniors are better than them.
Yeah, that's right. It set a weird tone, and it wasn't really such a bonding experience so much as it was an experience in tyranny, right? Because what did the seniors do? Get me more of this, get me more of that. Come on, hurry up, I want more. Hardly eating half a plate and ordering the freshmen to go get more, right? And I observed this, and I thought, something's not right. I mean, we're trying to create a school unity atmosphere kind of environment, and it wasn't really working like that. So within a few years, one of a student that was very close to me, a mentoree of mine, became the class president. And so I really started working on him at the beginning of the year, saying, Alex, how do you think you're anything different than, say, Hitler, except in degree? Because you're doing the same stuff. I mean, if you guys are oppressing others just because you have the ability to do it, you're really doing the same thing. It's just a matter of degree. I mean, yes, you're not killing, but you're really being very cruel. You're being a tyrant. And he thought about that. In the beginning of the year, we went to the retreat. And at the retreat, the principal said, okay, seniors, serve the... He had a bullhorn. That's why I'm doing this with my hand. Seniors are going to sit down. Freshmen, get up and serve the seniors. And Alex took the bullhorn and said, okay, seniors, you know what to do. And they all told the freshmen to sit down and serve the freshmen. A little different. Especially when they knew what was coming. Set a very different tone, right? Then, now, other hazing would normally go on, like, get the seniors up, or you get the freshmen up in the middle of the night and go throw them in the river. And I mean, it was kind of a normal, pranks and hazing, duct tape them to a tree, that kind of thing, right? Now, what they did, these seniors, they had planned this out. I didn't know about this part. I found out about this later on. But they got them, the freshmen up, got them out of their beds and ran them down to the river and then washed their feet. Like, biblically demonstrating that. I know it's a weird experience there, but it drove home a particular point. What was the point? We, the senior class, are what?
Servants.
Your servants. The unity